I gotta punctuate it. I said I loved your shirt, but behind your back I said I hate it. The lightning strike me down, if I lied, me no one be around when my tongue's untied. Everybody says it's okay, all the little things I say with my big fat mouth. La 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 la. Big fat mouth.
My big fat mouth gets me in trouble.
I am just excited that you did decide to join us this Memorial Weekend as we kind of wrap up this series that we've been on. I'm Mike. I'm one of the pastors here. And we've been in this series, My Big Fat Mouth, and we've been on it for about 3 weeks now. We've talked about criticizing and complaining, and last week we talked about lying, which was really an eye-opening experience for me to prepare and to realize that sometimes just because I don't tell lies with my mouth, the ways that I live and the things that I do are still lying or being deceitful or possible half-truths. So this week we are going to talk about gossip. All right, so I know some of you are thinking, man, I can't wait to share this with somebody online. I know exactly who needs to hear this, and I know who needs to hear it too, and it's probably you. So we are going to talk about gossip and look into this idea of gossip and what it is today. Because, gossip really does run rampant. I mean, sometimes you don't even realize that you're being a part of this gossip ring that you're in. And I was thinking about that. I'm like, why do we gossip? Why is it so important to us as humans to want to have this juicy information and share it to somebody else? Unfortunately, there's a scripture that talks about that right in the Bible. So we're going to start off with that today. You can always follow along in your talk notes on the screen or YouVersion. We put the notes in YouVersion each and every week. So you can go there into the YouVersion app and then go look for events and then search Ignite Church Neosho, and you will be able to find that. So as we start off today, we're going to start off in Proverbs 18:8, and it says, rumors, which is speaking of gossip, are dainty little morsels that sink deep into one's heart. This is so true, I think. They're dainty little morsels, these things that we just are excited to get a hold of. And whenever you hear something, somebody might say something like, hey, did you hear about so-and-so? And your brain just triggers, and you're like, what? What'd they do? What were they, and you just want more and more of this. It's like eating candy or something. You just can't stop. You're like, give me more information. I want to know more about what happened. They're dainty little morsels. Gossip, I've heard said before, can actually travel around the entire globe and make it back to you before the truth even wakes up out of bed. It's easy. It's so easy, even if you think about today's age with social media, how easy it is to say something about somebody else or share a post or click something or not pay attention. I find, this would even be somewhat considered gossip. I always find it interesting when some new celebrity has died and somebody goes and shares it, and then you find it 12 times on social media, and then you realize person's not even dead yet, but because we just take that as fact and truth and we want to share it. We want to be the first to tell everybody else about it. They got their information from us, even if that's not true. It's kind of like if you were a kid and you can remember playing the telephone game. That's how gossip spreads. It may start off as truth, and when we play the telephone game, what you do is you get a line of people and you whisper something into their ear if you haven't seen it before, and they continue to go down the line and tell each other until you get to the last person, and you see how that message has changed. And that happens so often with gossip as well. So it's funny how these different things can spread, and these ideas and these things that may even have been truth in the beginning can continue to spread on. And when you think about it, and even as I was preparing this week, I kind of sometimes think of gossip as gossip's childish, and it's high schoolish or middle schoolish, and didn't we grow up, and didn't we move past that? But as I really thought about it, I thought, I don't think we ever do. Because even after you move out of that phase, there's times in your life where gossip can affect you greatly. I mean, you might have lost a friendship because of gossip. You might have confided in somebody, and when that information made it back to you, that was shared, you were devastated. Or you might have gotten in a big quarrel with a family member. Maybe you were the one that shared something about them that upset them. But at the root of it, at the truth of it, gossip can sting and hurt and destroy relationships. Because rumors and gossip can sink deep into a person's heart. You know, the problem with gossip is sometimes we don't even realize we're gossiping. We'll disguise the gossip. Here in the Christian world, sometimes we like to disguise that gossip as a prayer request, right? So we say, oh, you know what? We need to pray for Mike. You know, and somebody's like, oh, why do we need to pray for Mike? Oh, well, you know, he's been working with this new girl, Karen, and he's been working a lot lately, and I don't know, we just need to pray for their family because I don't know what's going on. I don't know why they've been working late and going out of town, and I'm not really sure what's going on there, but you know, let's just keep their family in our prayers. So we hide that gossip as a prayer request, and we want to share that information because really, what are you doing right there? You're gossiping, you know? Your purpose isn't to pray for them. Your purpose is to be the one that shares the juicy information, but we just hide it in that way. And then other times, people might say, well, it's not gossip because it's true. But that still makes it gossip. And there's this one statement that I think kind of begins to sum up this entire series, and especially today that I want to share with you. That's everything that is said must be true, but not everything that is true must be said. We don't want to be liars, right? We talked about that last week. You know, everything that comes out of your mouth must be true. I want you to speak the truth in everything that you say. However, everything that you know as truth doesn't necessarily need to be said. You don't have to share everything that you know. And for some of us, that's the word, that's the thought that we really just need to hold on to this statement and think about. You know what? Should I share this? Everything that I share should be true, but should I share everything that I know? Because we have to understand the power of our mouths. The power they have to speak life into somebody else or to tear somebody down, to hurt them, to destroy the relationships that we've been building up throughout our life. So what do you want to be known for? Do you want to be known for building somebody up? Or do you want to be known for tearing somebody down? And I know the answer to that is actually really easy, right? I mean, it's easy to say, oh, I absolutely want to be known for building people up. Why would I want to be known for tearing people down? But yet we get caught in this trap so often. It's so easy to get caught in that way. We don't really intend on hurting people, but the gossip can truly hurt people. So what we're going to do today is we're going to look at a few of the different people that gossip hurts. If you're taking notes, the first person that I have that gossip hurts is gossip hurts the person that it is spoken about. Gossip hurts the person that it's spoken about. We're going to start off in Proverbs 16 looking at these people that gossip hurts. And in Proverbs 16:28 it says, a troublemaker plants seeds of strife. Gossip separates the best of friends. There's some of you in this room today that know exactly what that scripture is saying and exactly what that scripture means. Because you've been separated from a friendship or separated from a family member because of gossip. Somebody shared something about you that they shouldn't have shared, or possibly you shared something about somebody else that you should have kept to yourself. Maybe it's that situation of somebody told you something in confidence, or you told somebody else something in confidence, and it made it all the way back around. And you knew where that came from because you only told the one person. And there's this hurt that you go through because of that. I mean, you might have confided in somebody about an addiction that you had, and you really just wanted to talk to that person and use them to help build you up. And then before you know it, you're hearing about that addiction from other places. And that actually takes you back from your healing process of the addiction because now you're just driven to that place because of the hurt and pain that you're in. Or maybe something with your marriage. You may have confided in somebody about a problem or an issue that you're having in your marriage. And then as that makes it back to your spouse, it just makes things so much worse. That they're frustrated that you were talking about them behind their back or outside of that. Maybe you just shared that with a friend, and then all of a sudden it became a prayer request for somebody. But if you felt that pain of gossip, you know what I'm talking about. That gossip hurts the person that is being gossiped about. And if you've been through that, I am so sorry for you, because I truly understand where that is. I truly understand that place of how bad it hurts to have that come back, something about you that you've shared in confidence, that gossip has been spread. I'm sorry that that happens, because gossip truly does hurt the person that is spoken about. The next one that gossip hurts is gossip also hurts the listener. Gossip hurts the listener. You might be thinking, Mike, what are you talking about? Gossip hurts the listener. How does that make sense? I wasn't doing anything. I was just sitting there. But that's absolutely what it says. It actually says that in the Bible. As we look at Proverbs 17, it says, wrongdoers eagerly listen to gossip, and liars pay close attention to slander. So wrongdoers listen to gossip. Another way to say that would be, if you listen to gossip, you are wrong. And one thing I think about whenever I think about people that are gossiping, like to me, I mean, don't think for a second that when we're done with our conversation, that they're not going to leave and go talk about me to somebody else. Whatever you permit, you promote. So if you're listening to gossip, if you're allowing somebody to gossip to you, whatever you permit to happen, you're promoting and saying is okay. When you are allowing that gossip to come in to somebody else to speak that to you, and you don't put a stop to that whenever they're gossiping, you may not be actually a part of that conversation, but you're not only allowing that person to gossip in that moment, but you're allowing them to leave that conversation and begin to go and talk about your friends and your family and other things, as they leave there. Because if you don't put a stop to that, you're promoting what they're doing and saying with your inaction. The Bible is very clear when it talked about that. Wrongdoers eagerly listen to gossip. So gossip hurts the person that's spoken about. Gossip hurts the listener. And the last one is gossip hurts the speaker. Gossip hurts the person that's speaking it. Let's look at Proverbs 25 and see what it says about this. In Proverbs 25 it says, when you're arguing with your neighbor, don't betray another person's secret. So just because you're in a fight, just because you have information about something, once you get in this argument, it doesn't mean you need to go share that stuff with everybody. When you're arguing with your neighbor, don't betray that person's secret. Others may accuse you of gossip if you do this, and you will never regain your good reputation. You can spend a lifetime building up a reputation for yourself and tear it down ever so quickly by gossiping. I mean, if you think about it, how many times have you met somebody who's gossipy and wants to talk about everybody else, and you do have those thoughts of what's this person saying, behind my back, what's this person say when I'm not here, and thought, I really want to be like them, I really want to be like that person. That's not what we think at all. What we actually think is this person has constipation of the brain and diarrhea of the mouth, right? Like, this is not somebody that I want to be like. I think, what do they say when I'm not around them? And I also think I better be careful about what I say to them, because what are they going to do with that information? So gossip hurts the person that's gossiped about, and it hurts the listener, and it hurts the speaker. So pretty much what have we established? The gossip hurts everyone, right? Gossip hurts everybody. So how are we going to control gossip? How are we going to control this within our own life? If the goal is that we don't want to gossip, I've got a couple things that we're going to talk about today, and I tried to keep them as simple and as easily as possible to follow as we leave here, as we go into this week and this month, and we try to better ourselves and better our big fat mouths and not be a part of this gossip. So how do we control gossip? If you're taking notes, the first one is to guard your ears. To guard your ears. As I was listening to different things, a few podcasts, I read some stuff. I was trying to do as much research getting ready for this message about gossip. I ran across this article that was talking about gossip, and it said if you're trying to stop gossip from happening to you, if you're in that situation where somebody is gossiping and you don't want to hear it anymore, because we know gossip hurts the listener as you would be in that situation, how do you get out of that situation? And what they suggested is you use just one simple question. It's just to ask the person, why are you telling me this? What is your purpose and intention of telling me this? And you don't have to be, like mean or sassy. Why are you telling me that? But to just say, what is your purpose? And as I thought about that, I thought, that sounds great, and it is great, but it's also a little bit confrontational of a statement. Why are you telling me this or whatever? So I thought about another way, another question that you could ask that will usually help with stopping gossip. And that's to just simply ask them, have you had a chance to talk to so-and-so about the situation? And what did they think? Because usually when we're gossiping, it's not because we have firsthand information from somebody, but a lot of times it's because we've got it from somebody else. And just simply saying to them, hey, have you had a chance to talk to Mike about the situation? And what did he think? And that'll usually stop them in their tracks. Because they don't know the whole story a lot of times. They've just made up the story. They've just inferred the story. That story with Mike and Karen, remember we were all gossiping about Mike and Karen and what's going on with them. But have you had a chance to talk to Mike about that? And what did he think? Because the true story is that Karen is not his girlfriend on the side. Karen is his relative, and they're working together now, but he feels comfortable around Karen because, she's related to him, so there's not going to be any, urge or whatever. I mean, a little bit south of the border here, it might be a little bit different, but I shouldn't have said that. I'll just edit that out of the podcast. Anyway, so, but we don't know the whole story. So if you just stop somebody by saying, hey, have you had a chance to talk to Mike about that? What did he say about it? So many times, that'll just stop people in their tracks. So where does this amazing information come from? I mean, how did I think of this genius idea of just asking somebody what they thought about that? Have you talked to the person about that? It's actually from this guy named Jesus. Y'all might have heard of him, okay? But this is in the Bible. Y'all should read it because it's good stuff. But in Matthew 18:15, Jesus says this: if another believer sins against you, go privately and point out their offense. I think that's important that we don't, let's not just call it out in front of everybody. Just go to the person. Go to them and say, hey, this is what you've done, or this is what I feel offended by, or this is what's happened. Go privately and talk to them about that. If the other person listens and confesses, then you might have won back that person. So when you ask that question, have you had the chance to talk to so-and-so about the situation? Then you're actually helping them do what Jesus told us to do. You're helping them become a little bit more like Jesus and stopping them from gossiping. And this might not always look like that. I know this sounds great that you can just have that one conversation and people will kind of get where you are as far as I'm not really going to allow this gossip, but sometimes there are people that are still going to just continue to gossip. And they're still going to continue to speak that in front of you. And at those points, it's perfectly fine to begin to separate yourself from that situation. You might have to distance yourself from your friendship with them, or maybe even cut it off altogether. But again, this is a biblical truth that it says in Proverbs, which we're going to read, that sometimes we need to just not be in there. In Proverbs 20:19, it says, a gossip goes around telling secrets, So don't hang around with chatterers. So if somebody's going to gossip, they're just going to continue to gossip and you can't stop them. You can't say something to them like, hey, have you talked to somebody about this? And they're going to be willing to stop gossiping. So you don't get caught in that trap of being a listener, caught in that trap of possibly repeating things that you hear. He says, you know what? Just gossipers are going to gossip. Don't hang around with those people if they're not going to change who they are. I think these are very simple and direct and easy instructions of how we're going to guard our ears. And the second thing we have in there is to close our mouth. So we're going to guard our ears and we're going to close our mouth. And I love the way that this is described in Proverbs 21:23. I think this is very direct, very simple, and very easy to follow. It says in Proverbs 21:23, watch your tongue, keep your mouth shut, and you're going to stay out of trouble. All right, I'm going to have you guys say this with me, okay? We are going to memorize a Bible verse in church today. So let's say this a couple times. Ready? Watch your tongue, keep your mouth shut, and you will stay out of trouble. One more time. Watch your tongue, keep your mouth shut, and you will stay out of trouble. And you will also be happily married for a long time, man, if you do this. I promise you. So y'all just learned a Bible verse today that can work for gossip and relationships both. But if you find yourself in that situation where you think, I need to share this with somebody, I have to share this with somebody, the best thing to do is just ask yourself the question, would I want somebody to share this information about me if I weren't there? If I weren't a part of this situation, would I want somebody else having this conversation about me? This is another principle that is taught about by this guy Jesus. He keeps coming up in here today, you know. But Jesus told us this in Luke 6:31. You guys have all heard this, whether you've gone to church your whole life or not. This is a statement that is just over and over and on signs and everywhere. It says, do unto others as you would like them to do unto you. Do unto others as you want them to do unto you. So when that question comes around about how you speak something, or if you should speak something about another person, just ask yourself, would I want somebody to share this about me if I weren't here? And if we begin to ask these questions of ourselves, and we guard our ears by asking, what is your intention of telling me this story? Or have you talked to somebody about that? And we guard our mouths by watching our tongue and keeping our mouth shut, we can begin to kill some of this gossip. This week's been a long week for me. And it's been a long week for all you guys too, I'm sure. I'm positive. It's been crazy. We've had storms after storms. Everybody's had, we've had issues in Carl Junction with tornadoes. I had to go out of town for work this week, and I got to go to Tulsa area, a little place called Skiatook, which was the origin of all the tornadoes we sent your way as they started off this week. But it's just been nuts all week long. And so I'm trying to get this message together in pieces here and there. Some days we don't have power. Some days I'm watching the weather all night to see what's going on. Of course, that takes away from doing that. I had family in, blah, blah, blah. Everybody's busy, and it's rainy, and it's crazy, and it's flooding, and either you got a tornado getting you or a flood getting you, or you can't get to wherever. But it's just been nuts. So anyway, as I'm preparing this message this week, I had to stay in Skiatook, like I'd said, for a night. Now, I was at work one day, and I was trying to get the notes put into the little pretty things that you guys hold in your hands there. Just get that in there real quick at work. Because don't tell my boss I was working at church stuff at work, all right? You can just keep that our little secret. But anyway, I had 10 minutes. I could get it. I go out to the lobby, And I sit down, I open my laptop, and I start working on this. And it was really weird. In comes this guy and this girl. And the guy was much, much, much older. He was like in his, I'm going to say, late 60s. And the girl was probably about 30. And they were holding hands as they came in. And the girl very much reminded me of what I would call a lady of the night, all right? As a matter of fact, I was so intrigued by this, I took a picture. I'm serious. Like, this really happened. I'm going to put this picture up here on the screen. So this is them leaving together. Really, really weird situation. They both come in, they're sitting down, they eat something, and then they leave, and they're kind of holding hands, and they go sit out in the truck for about 20 or 30 minutes, and then, like, you guys think I'm making this up? I swear I am not making this up. So I had left work about this time, and I ran over to Walmart to get a couple things I needed. I didn't bring shaving cream or something, and this girl's over there at Walmart buying stuff, but the guy's, like, gone. He's not with her when she left. So you guys kind of catch my drift of what's going on here, you know? So, one, why would I tell this story today? And two, why are you interested in hearing about this story of an old man and a prostitute that are in McDonald's in Skiatook, Oklahoma? But it's because we get intrigued by these dainty little morsels as people are telling stories. And you're like, hey, a story about a prostitute in church? Wow, this does sound like the Bible. But gossip is like those dainty little morsels. And what we have to do is watch our tongue, keep our mouth shut, and stay out of trouble. Pray with you guys as we close out today, please. Jesus, I love you so much, Lord. Lord, I just come to you humbled. Because I know that I want to be a person that builds up other people and not a person that tears them down. And Lord, as we talk today about gossip, as we talked in this whole series about the different things, about complaining and about lying and about criticizing, and today that gossip, Lord, I just pray that you would do a work in every one of us, that we would understand the power that our words actually have on other human beings on this earth. That we would realize that whenever we're talking about somebody behind their back, when we're talking about somebody whenever they're there, when we're spreading rumors, when we're spreading gossip about other people, that we are hurting people that have souls. Lord, I pray that you would help us to guard our ears and to close our mouth. And Lord, as we wrap up this series, I don't want to just end here necessarily, because I think this has been a great and powerful opportunity for us to just reflect on ourselves, reflect on the my big fat mouth part, not the your big fat mouth, to not point fingers, but to look at ourselves and just say, how am I living life as a follower of Christ? How am I reflecting in my daily actions that I am different, that I am changed because I'm a follower of you, Jesus? And as we reflect on that, I hope that we can make changes. I know, Lord, that you can speak to each one of us, that you can send your Spirit down to just kind of be there and say, why are you sharing that information? What purpose do you have? Have you talked to so-and-so about that? But I pray that we would walk out of here today and just think twice about the words that come out of our mouth. Whether it's complaining or criticizing or gossip, that you would be that guidance for what we can say that's going to build people up, that's going to promote people, that's going to make them better, and not what's going to tear them down and make them feel worse and destroy relationships. Jesus, I pray this in your glorious name. Amen.